You know, when you hop in your car, you probably see a machine made of metal, glass, and plastic. But that's not the whole story anymore. Underneath the hood, modern cars are really these incredibly complex thinking devices. They have their own digital nervous system, and in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how your car thinks.
We've all been there, right? You're driving along and boom, that little check engine light pops on, and you're immediately thinking, what on earth is wrong now? Well, that light is so much more than just a warning. It's a message, a little signal from your car's incredibly intricate network of brains, senses, and even muscles.
So we're going to break down the anatomy of a smart car in 5 main parts. First, we'll meet its brain. Then, we'll explore its network of sensors. After that, we'll see how it actually turns signals into actions. Then we'll put it all together to see how these parts create smarter, safer systems. And finally, we'll take a quick look into the future at the car of tomorrow.
All right, let's dive right in. First up, your car has a brain. The official name for it is the Electronic Control Unit, or ECU for short, and this little box is basically the command center for the entire vehicle.
So what exactly is an ECU? Well, think of it as a small but powerful computer, totally dedicated to running the show. It's constantly crunching data from all over the car in real time, making thousands of tiny decisions every second to keep everything running smoothly, efficiently, and most importantly, safely.
But here's the thing. A modern car doesn't just have one brain. Oh no, it's got a whole team of specialized brains. There's one ECU just for the engine, another just for the transmission, a separate one for the brakes, and yeah, even dedicated ones for things like your airbags or your power windows. Each one is a master of its own domain, and they all have to work together perfectly.
Okay, so a brain is great, but it's pretty useless if it doesn't have any information. So how do all these ECUs actually know what's going on? Well, that brings us to our second section, the car's amazing network of senses which let it perceive the world, both inside the engine and out on the road.
These senses are, of course, its electronic sensors. You can think of them as the eyes, the ears, and maybe even the nerve endings of the car. Their whole job is to measure physical things, like air pressure, temperature, or how fast a wheel is spinning, and translate all of that into a digital language the ECUs can understand in an instant. And these sensors are incredibly specific. For example, a mass airflow sensor is telling the engine's brain exactly how much air is coming in so it can create the perfect fuel-to-air mix. The NOx sensor is like a tiny microphone, literally listening for unhealthy pings or sounds inside the engine. And wheel speed sensors are absolutely vital. They're constantly telling the braking system exactly how fast each individual wheel is turning.
Okay, so we've got brains that can think and senses that can feel. But how does the car actually do anything? Let's move on to Section 3 and see how all this information gets turned into real, physical action. And to do that, we need to introduce the car's muscles.
The car's muscles are called actuators. An actuator is basically any part that gets a command from an ECU and then makes something move. So, when the engine's brain says, hey, we need a little more fuel, an actuator opens a valve. When you step on the gas pedal, an actuator moves the throttle. It's the critical bridge between a digital command and a real-world action.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. These parts work together in a constant feedback loop. It goes like this. A sensor senses the current situation. The ECU thinks about it, comparing that data to where it's supposed to be, and then an actuator acts to make a correction. This sense, think, act cycle happens over and over and over again, hundreds, maybe thousands of times every single second. This is the very essence of how your car thinks. Now, this smart feedback system is called closed-loop control. It's the total opposite of a simple, kind of dumb, open-loop system. Think about a basic fan in an old car. You set the speed and it just blows. It doesn't care if you get too hot or too cold. But a closed-loop system, like your cruise control, is constantly sensing your speed and making tiny adjustments to the throttle to keep you at that exact speed. It's always checking its own work.
All right, now that we have the building blocks, the brains, the senses, and the muscles, let's look at the incredible systems they create when they all work together. This is where your car stops being just a machine and really starts becoming your co-pilot.
For all these different parts to talk to each other, they need a communication network. These are called buses, and it really is just like a nervous system. You've got a high-speed highway, called the CAN bus, for the really critical life-or-death information like braking and engine data. And then you have slower, local roads for non-critical stuff, like adjusting your power seats.
It's a true digital nervous system, making sure the right messages get through at just the right speed.
And the amazing result of all this technology working in harmony is what we call Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS. This is where that nervous system comes alive, actively working to keep you safe and just make driving a whole lot easier.
These features are just perfect examples of that sense, think, act loop in action. Adaptive cruise control uses radar to sense the car in front of you. The ECU thinks about what a safe following distance is, and then the throttle and brakes act to maintain it. Lane Keep Assist uses cameras to sense the lane markings and then makes tiny steering adjustments to keep you perfectly centered. It's all happening automatically.
Picture this. It's pouring rain, and you have to slam on your brakes. In an older car, the wheels would just lock up and you'd go into a skid. But with an anti-lock braking system, or ABS, the wheel speed sensors instantly sense that lockup. The braking ECU thinks, whoa, that's not right, and then commands the brake actuators to act, pulsing the brakes dozens of times per second. This lets you keep steering control and hopefully avoid an accident. That's the system saving the day.
But, this technology is not standing still, not by a long shot. For our final section, let's look at how this automotive brain is continuing to evolve, getting smarter and more connected every single year.
I mean, the journey has been absolutely incredible. We went from cars that were purely mechanical to vehicles with onboard diagnostics that let us plug in and listen to what the car's brain was thinking. Right now, we're in the era of over-the-air updates. And just over the horizon is something called Vehicle-to-Everything, or V2X, where cars won't just talk to each other, they'll talk to the entire world around them. And those over-the-air, or OTA, updates are a total game changer. It means your car's brain can literally be reprogrammed wirelessly. Automakers can send out software updates to improve your car's performance, add brand new features, or fix bugs, all while it's just sitting in your driveway. Your car can actually get better and smarter over time. So, this all leads to a really fundamental question. As our cars learn and improve themselves with software updates and start communicating with everything around them, the very nature of what a car is starts to change. Is it still just a machine you own? Or is it slowly transforming into an intelligent, connected service on wheels? It's something to think about next time you push that start button.